Alright, good evening everyone, welcome to the channel. It's been an interesting setup tonight. We've got everything up and running, kind of, and then been indications that the channel didn't want to start up, and then we had issues getting our VTube character running. The character was all there, the model was loaded, the camera supposedly was running, but then it wasn't, and then, yeah, no, we're all good now. All good, but we're going to be taking a relatively, I won't say short run. We've only got a couple of streams left before I take a bit of a break. So it'll be tonight, tomorrow, Monday and Wednesday at this rate. So let's bring ourselves in. Now we're almost immediately going to drop into creative, because there was something I was working on having a look at yet last week. I started on it. Now last week I'd managed to finish, where was it? Okay, so 2 weeks ago I put in, I'm going to lose my own castle. There you go. Effectively Hoxton Tower. In fact, we'll teleport there and have a look. Which, I ran according to the design parameters I'd had, and it seems a bit more squat than what the diagrams and drawings seem to indicate. It should be a bit taller. But, again, I followed the diagrams, and it is a bit of a problem with Minecraft that you're going to have your walls. If you're trying to make your walls appropriately thick, it's going to make a squat design, especially if you're taking a real world building into consideration. Then, last week, zoom out and have a look, I put in this tower house, and it kind of worked a bit better, but at the same time, the diagrams I was working from were missing a couple of the internal floors. I mean, it works okay. The chimneys are in the right spot. I'm not 100% overwhelmed by the color palette, but we don't get much choice. And I had to operate a bit of guesswork about the internal layout and storage and stuff. So we went with a few educated guesses. And it's a bit hard trying to put in proper rounded staircases, circular staircases, when Minecraft doesn't really lend it to a narrow staircase setup effectively. So we ran through, and I think what we ended up with was reasonable, especially lacking detail about the internal floors for this particular build. But certainly no worse than we had with the other tower. I mean, at least we had the internal layout for that roughly mapped out in the design. This one was a lot more guesswork. The externals, again, you were losing some fidelity at this scale, but I think it kind of works. Now, we then pushed our way, spent a little bit of time trying to find where it was. Over here, up here. So, we're going to come in here and have a crack at, well, basically it's a French chateau now. But the layout is, I'm not 100% sure at the moment that I've got everything exactly where it should be. Perhaps. We'll see. Alright, so front door, back door, and then there was, this should be a shallow, 1, 2, 3, so there's 3, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now, it's not exactly 6. Give me half a second. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6. If I take those off, it'll be 4. Yeah, again, the scaling is just not quite right. But what we'll do is we'll drop this down. Good question about parameters. That's in line with the back door. So that means we come out this side. 1, 2, and then there'll be faced stonework. So we're going to give ourselves stone bricks. If we face it like that, okay, and then width from there is going to be 1, 2, 3 that way, yep. 2, 3, that's... Alright, so that's the northern walkway. Gap. And... actually have a table there. 1, 2... If I've got this right, it's actually that wide. Like that. Which means if I then got to drop that down... like that. I should probably carry a lantern in my offhand so I can actually see what I'm doing. Alright, now these are actually elevated somewhat above the river, enough to give an arch. So what we're looking at here is the, well, internals really. Alright, there we go, to there. Now, it's going to be more of a problem as I go further out. That's a long way down. Alright, so basically we fill... three wide in here. Now, I'm pretty sure in the real world design building, the underwater element isn't this deep, or equivalent of this deep, but we're going to work with what we've got. We have some very deep waterways, even though this technically isn't... Well, I mean, if I wanted a river, I'd also wanted enough lateral space to actually build the structure. I think there's going to be a couple of trade-offs coming up. And again, the design I'm building, the sketch map that I'm building from isn't necessarily 100% to scale either. So we're going to find shortcuts all over the place, I think. Now, I'll explain how frustrating this is going to be in just a bit, because now, I'm assuming these are solid. There's nothing I have on the diagram to imply that these pillars are going to be anything other than solid. Right, so if we come up, every pair of torches is another pillar. I think that's appropriate. That will be narrow. There is a gap, a water gap here-ish as well, about here actually. And then there's another set of narrow pillars support out here. Back to, well, a readout, a buttress on land. So this is going to work. Well, it has to work. At this rate, if I get these pillars in place tonight, and nothing, not much else, I think it would have been a successful evening. At least they're all the same size, at least the same outer dimension. So once I get this in place, I can go and set all the other external parameters, and then be set about putting in that. Alright, so that's the first pillar done. And, well, okay, I won't say how long that took us, but it took long enough. Right, so we know that this is the right build out distance. And, well, we know that this is actually a build limit. One, two, three, four, and a fifth. Alright, so there's four main ones. 1, 2, 3, 4. And the fifth one is actually much reduced. It's really only well, full width. What do I say for width? That's a full width out this side. So actually, this one over here will come out full width like that, but is limited because it's actually much pointier on this side. Does not actually come out those two. It goes straight to a point. That's actually more pointy, but so in essence, it comes in to there is its endpoint. Now I've got to double check that. Right, that one's knocked that off. That goes there. Huzzah. Okay, and then the one next one across goes, well, further out, but the gap is, what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's, well, it's a 4 gap. We bring that to 3, 2 to 2. It comes out the same length, but comes, not that one, extends another block, another 2 blocks. Give me a sec, I need to zoom in. No, another block. Like that, and then goes across And that actually lines up with that door quite well. Well done, me. Goes out to that length. Right. So 1, 2, 3. I don't know that that's the right width. If anything, that might need to be narrowed 1. Like that. Alright. Now these are stone. These are definitely stone. This is interior building, so that's going to be slightly different. And in fact, that north side is going to be very different. This side is going to be different again. But what I can do is I can take these straight down. Knowing that that's going to be my walls, exterior walls. Probably should do with them sponges, I guess. Now, again, as far as I'm aware, there is nothing below. Actually, maybe one level below the surface of the water. But we'll come out this way if we can't drop these other ones. Nope, they're getting deeper. Seriously? Yeah, give me half a sec. Right, they are definitely stone. pillared. I'll double check the design. Now, there's going to be no doubt at all when this build is done about how secure these pillars are. I'll tell you now, the real world one is not this comparatively deep. If it was, they would not have built it in this manner. But in fact, I got plans for another build when this one's done, which will probably actually tuck in between two of the player builds, because, well, I've not seen the terrain biome and I guess well, the terrain that I need, except for over there. Although there is an option I could put it in near where I've got the mine. Which might work. Now, the other thing too is, given that this stuff's all under the water, I probably should be putting, what's the word for it? Mossy stone blocks in, but we'll get there. We'll do this first. A long way down. Hooray! No, not hooray. I was going to say 2 done, but no, I forgot. I haven't done this side yet. Ah. Well, I got 3 more to do. Thought I had 4. Well, actually, then I got the main building to do. And there is another couple of... not docks. There are another couple of foundations... Pillars, piers I need to put in. Smaller ones. But I know these ones are definitely solid. Right, that one done. Well, let's take the end one straight down. And down there as well. There we are. So we're going to drop the outer, half the outer wall, fill the interior, and then put the last part of the wall on. Seems to make a bit of sense. Well, it makes sense in my head. Okay, and then I'll finish putting this lot in. I was going to say, oh, I feel like we're proceeding a fair way down. No. G'day, Alex. What? How are you, mate? Not too bad, thanks. How was your Christmas? Alright, okay. This side should now be pretty much done. I can fill the pillar. Now, how many did I say to do? I had 4 big pillars and a little pillar. I've done the little pillar. And this will be my second big pillar. And then I'm going to fill in the main building one. Well, I've half sketched that out. That one's shallower. And then I've got the shore piering to do. Minecraft, fave game? Wouldn't... well, it's probably the one I've streamed the most. Is it my favourite game? Well, depends. I'd have to think about that. Favourite game overall? No, probably not. I mean, there's stuff I love playing, which I just can't stream, because I get that engaged in it that, trust me, the stream gets very boring very quickly. But in terms of streaming-wise, hard to say, because once I finish it, like a lot of the other games I've streamed have had definite finish points, like definite endpoints. So I don't really come back to them once I've finished streaming them. Like, I had a lot of fun streaming, say, Ni no Kuni Wrath of the White Witch, for example. But once that was platinumed and 100%ed, there was very little incentive to keep playing. And so, given that this is sandboxing, I mean, I tried 7 Days to Die on stream, but found that back when I started playing it, and I was one of the Kickstarter backers for it, it had a very definite gameplay loop that was suitable for solo players, but coming back into it in the more recent versions, it's really set up for multiplayer, and I didn't have a multiplayer group to run that. I have a very specific schedule, so Kick doesn't, and YouTube don't get the schedule published because they don't seem to support schedules. But at the moment I stream gameplay, so this is all based on Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time right now. So Sunday, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday. And so Saturday is technically a multiplayer stream. So this is coming off a Minecraft SMP I run, and people come and go from it as they please. Sunday is currently Infamous Second Son. So I finished the other Infamous games, and so I've just got Second Son and First, whatever the other one is, to finish off. Monday night I'm doing the Mass Effect trilogy, and currently deep into the hardcore run with my final pairing. And then I've got my Insanity speedrun. Wednesday night is RPG night, and currently running Pillars of Eternity on the PlayStation 4, and I'm doing my Peaceful run, or my Rogue run on that at the moment. And then when that's done, I'll be doing Pillars of Eternity 2. And then Friday, at the moment, is the Prince of Persia Sands of Time series. So, currently I've done Sands of Time and whatever the second one after that was. And I'm on my expert playthrough of the Two Thrones. And then I'll have the easy no death run after that. And then there's a couple more after that. And I stream because, well, I'd be playing the games. More than likely I'd be playing the games anyway. And I largely game for cathartic reasons, and I found that, well, there were people who were quite happy to sit and watch, and I found, certainly with the streams over time, that there's a lot of people who use me as something as a comfort streamer in the background. I also do a couple of just chatting streams when I can during the day, during the week, but they're not set. And so, I mean, I know that I'm streaming in particular because I'm streaming like games from the PlayStation 3 era and earlier and things like that. that they're not going to have, and I'm not streaming massively multiplayer games or things like that, that quite often I'm the only person on any of the streaming services that's actually streaming these games at the time, and I don't set out to exploit them, min-max them, or break the games in any way, so it's just there to have fun with them, really. Just enjoy the path through. Like when I played L.A. Noire, only, 18 months back, it was the first time I'd seen it. Well, I'd had the game for a while, I knew about it, but it was the first time I'd actually played it. So I had people in stream watching who knew everything about the game inside out, watching me as I came into it for the first time, and sort of just tried to chill my way through the entire game and everything. So yeah, the whole streaming setup is chill, laid-back gameplay. I'm not sure if there's an introductory video on Kick. I know the YouTube channels definitely have introductory videos that explain it a little bit better. Yeah, so the main YouTube channel has an introductory video on it that sort of walks through what it is. And I mean, over the time, I've had plenty of people come and go and things like that, and a lot of the viewers who hang around are here because, well, they enjoy listening to gameplay that's laid back, not afraid to make mistakes, not afraid to laugh at myself for making those mistakes, and just doesn't get, well, I do get worked up sometimes, but in general, it's all really chilled and laid back. I mean, what's the point of playing games to relax if you can't actually relax? Yeah, I do. That should have been linked there in those socials. Alright, so let's bring this one down again. So that's 2 big pillars done. I've got two to go. Now, yes, I could duplicate, but nope. There we go. So, build that back up. We'll drag that one down as well. Now I could, yeah, so turn these into mossy would kind of make sense, but maybe just at the waterline, because it needs oxygenation to form the moss. Oh, and on the Discord, we have weekly giveaways and things like that as well. So, yeah, there's a fair few people who hang out the Discord as well. And the Discord's the same as the gaming channels in terms of being just chilled and laid back. All the way to the top there. Get underneath. Alright, okay. So now I can fill. Oh, I think I'll fill the deeper one. And there we go. Alright, let's check out. We know it's going to be like that. Alright, close those around like that. Now the problem with this spacing, and it comes back to the design paperwork I'm looking at for the build, is between these pillars is an arch. Well, these pillars are separated by arches, and they're currently spaced an even number of blocks apart. It's going to make an arch very hard because there's no keystone. Now, I'm sure I'm going to put in like stairs or something to... I'll have something to sort it out, but... Again, one of the issues of working with things at this scale, particularly if you're trying to replicate a real-world structure, or something that approximates the real-world structure. Right. Now put the facing stones on this one. Yeah, I did say if I just got these done tonight, I'd be happy. Mind-numbing putting all these blocks in place. However, once I get these ones done, we'll actually be working on the bits that represent the actual build. I mean, these are part of the building, but you know what I mean. G'day, Audrey Braden. How are you? Not too bad, thank you. Thank you for asking. Just here doing some mind-numbing work to fill in these pillars before, or these, well, basically they're piers, before I get the build going on top. Progressing. I mean, they all go to, well, a bit far back. They're all properly anchored to the sea floor. I mean, it's meant to be just a river, but hey, I didn't have a river with the right gap in it. Well, what am I? Plains. Yeah, well, I'm not in plains now, am I? In fact, what does the map say? Lukewarm ocean. Yeah, I didn't have a river wide enough. I mean, as it is, I'm going to wonder how I'm going to get all the design elements to fit. Ah, you're the first... Oh, welcome to the stream. No, you're right, I didn't. I just saw your chat. I did not pay attention to the fact that it said you're a first-time chatter. Welcome to the stream. I'm not sure if you've been lurking before this, but welcome aboard. But yeah, no, you're right. I didn't notice. Points for awareness. No worries. I'll be here, building piers, listening to whale song. Come on. Oh, now this, I can actually put cracked, no, I would say cracked blocks, but no, these are going to be in good condition, so no. Alright, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 done. And now it's one more and I'll have done the main piers and it'll be on to the base of the couple of the supporting elements and the building itself. So we'll do the well, possibly. I mean, the discussion I was having over on Kick, which you might have been listening to, I suspect is someone trying to get me to hop onto a Discord where they try and sell view counts and view bots and things like that. Look, I've had some really funny conversations with bots and things like that. Or they're not bots; they're actual real users. But they've got the ones that do art. Well, it's effectively clip art, but who run the automated art programs to do interstitials and things like that. Some of them are really kind of cool to chat to because they put a lot of effort into actually using real viewers to do it. And it's clear when you're chatting to them that they've probably got like a dozen channels open that they're trying to chat on. And they don't tend to take a gentle no for an answer. Insta's pretty bad for it. Well, I wasn't getting that smell from you, Audrey. But Insta and Twitter tend to be really bad for it. And you can, Discord as well. You can kind of tell, like you said, they have a fairly standard patter when they come in. And the ones that try and change it up, you can still tell. But I engage with them anyway because, look, it's an actual user that's gone to the effort. And I'm like, look, hey, good effort. You've done enough to get me to engage with you. I just don't need any artwork done. But hey, look, you've clearly thought enough to separate yourself from the crowd. Good work. But you're selling something to someone that doesn't need it. So I'm not going to waste your time. I'll just tell you thank you for the offer, but I don't need your work. And that also goes to, I've got a couple of artists that I've been using for the work I've been doing, and they're already being paid whenever I give them work and stuff like that. It's like, well, I've already got relationships with artists. So what tea did you get, Audrey? And it's like the ones that sell view bots and stuff as well. I'm like, yeah, that's not going to help anyone. I mean, despite the fact that a lot of people view bot. So what was your tea, Audrey? Or what is your tea? I don't drink tea. Can't stand it. Drink lots of coffee, though. Right. Now to face it. Normal milk tea. So like an English breakfast tea. That sort of thing. Well, tea's still special to anybody. If it helps wake you up or keep you awake, it does the job. You had some people who decided they don't like the taste of black tea. Yeah, you see, I understand that. I mean, I can't stand too much straight black coffee. I've got to have it with milk. But by the same token, I absolutely adore the stronger the coffee, the better. But for example, I can't drink much Vietnamese coffee because they tend to make it with condensed milk, and they make, I don't think they really have a black coffee variant, but it's always made with condensed milk, and I can't stand the taste of condensed milk. Just as I don't like the sachet coffees. I never really got the hang of it. If someone's put creamer in the coffee instead of milk, full fat milk, I'm like, nah, can't stand creamer. But I'm not going to deny somebody their tea or anything like that. I got some people that don't drink black tea, can't stand it, but love every other variety of green tea and chamomile and everything else. For me, it's kind of like an iced latte is probably the version most people would understand. But it's generally made, if I'm making it with instant, good quality instant, I'm using a good tablespoon of instant, made up to about 3 espressos worth of liquid, and then topped off with milk. Most of the way with milk. I don't drink the smaller coffees much, and I don't drink too many of those. So like 1 a day of those is generally enough. If I'm going out for coffee, I'll have the iced coffee, which is what it's called here in Australia, and but then I'll get an extra shot. So sometimes, depending on the place that makes it, it can be anywhere from 2 to 3 espresso shots, sometimes 4. And yeah, 4's pushing your luck, especially when it's made from good single origin coffee. I mean, I've quite happily drink other stuff too, but no, the iced coffee is my favourite. I made my mistake of going overseas. I was travelling once, and made the mistake. I think I just finished that. That was the pier. Yeah, I walked into, I think it was a Caribou Coffee was the place, and went, oh look, they've got iced coffee. I'm an Australian. I know what an iced coffee is. I'll have an iced coffee. And what they gave me was an iced long black. And not just that, it was like 4 or 5 espressos in a long black and served to the same height as an iced coffee. That was bitter. I drank it. But I'm like, okay, next time, ask for the iced latte. Which is what an Aussie would regard an iced coffee as. Which is what I'd normally drink 1 of a day. 2 if I'm having a really bad day. But I'm happy to drink anything along those lines. I mean, I don't like flat whites or espressos or cappuccinos and things. I find a lot of them tend to be a little bit too weak. By going the iced coffee route, I can add in enough espresso to get the hit I need. So yeah, 3, 4, sometimes more in terms of the shots, which can leave you a bit jittery if you've got the order wrong. But I do find it funny with the people who turn their nose up at the idea of, oh, it's a nice coffee, who then go and order like a ridiculous some sort of cappuccino type thing with, or like a flat white. The difference between a flat white is just basically a long black with milk, steamed milk. But then you got people who go to their cappuccinos and go fancy with it, and realistically the difference between an iced coffee and a cappuccino or a flat white is you get enough milk in it that it makes the coffee go cold, and then you go places that have cold press or cold pour, which is nice as well. But if I've got the opportunity and the time and the cognitive function, I will generally make myself an AeroPress. But I'll AeroPress three shots. And the grind I've got there is this wonderful single origin one. But again, that demands I have enough motor function not to make a mess of things. and to safely handle hot liquids. Like we had, actually had an espresso machine I got for Christmas or a birthday a few years back. And that, while it made good coffee, was dangerous because it demanded far too much in terms of higher cognitive function before you got your caffeine. And when you're trying to push too much hot water through the wrong sort of grind, yeah, it could explode rather messily in your face. So yeah, after a while with that, I went, you know what? It's safer just to go back to instant first thing in the morning, and then rely on someone else to operate the espresso machine. Speaking of which, though, I probably should go out tomorrow morning. I don't think there'd be too many people out and about on the 4-day long weekend after Christmas. Go for a bit of a walk, earn the coffee. Yeah, that'd be a plan. But in terms of, like, French press or anything else, I mean, there's certain instant brands I do tend to stick to if I'm sticking instant like that, but in terms of espresso, anything that's fair trade, single origin, I tend to enjoy. Something that can be bold flavoured, strong flavoured generally. Right, okay, I got to fill in the back of that yet, but that's working. That's definitely working. Yeah, I got to check. It actually goes further across. There's actually a secret dock. Come back to that. Yeah, we'll fit that in there. Let's bring this out here. I don't know how much further I need to go up here, but we'll... Okay, so this one here is square. Rectangular? Rectangular. Rectilinear. A rectangle. And we'll push this out. I don't know. Give me a sec. I need to measure off the diagram. Okay. It's two and a bit times the length. Okay, so these are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 long. And I need to take it 2.5 times as long. Which is 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. I said 2.5 times as long, didn't I? 26, 4, 5, 28. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And it steps in just a touch before the end, like that. This one is actually a little bit... Ooh. One, two, three, four internal. 1, 2, 3, 4 internal. It steps in here. Then steps in again up the end. Right, so this one, sneakily, is... Actually comes back diagonally as far as that doorway. Like that. Alright, so it's going to be pointy bit there, but that's... It is pointy bit there. And I feel that feels narrow, very, very narrow. Because there's supposed to be a 3 wide room, plus more inside. Yeah, see, that's the problem. The diagram... That's a bit better. Yeah, much better. Now we need to fix up this on the interior. Yep, no, that's good at the front. That's good at the back. That's good there. That's good there. That's good there, which means we need to give... There's a gap here. That's going to be 1 wide. And then there's a gap there that's 2 wide. Like that. And then that's 1 wide across there. And then that's the appropriate width all the way back here. Okay, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 at the max. 1, 2, 3, 5 at the max. Okay, that, did I get that diameter wrong? I did. Okay, this one doesn't matter because it's going to be all measured out. In fact, your side seems to come all the way out to the same length as... I had a feeling that building part of it's supposed to be bigger. Anywho, let's work out what's supposed to happen over this side. It's got a pillar there, and then it's actually staircase. Yeah, that's fine. That one's good. This needs to be infilled, and that needs to be infilled. And these two are done. Those other ones are done. Okay, we'll look at the timings. So we're doing all right. And down we go. All right, what do we got? At least I didn't end up in the chasm. That's an improvement. What am I going to fill that in with? That looks like it's a paved surface. Not necessarily tiled, paved. Paved is the right word. Whoops. Close that out, close that out. Alright, that's enclosed. Those two are done. All of them are done. I've got the perimeter here set. Now I've just got to take them. G'day, Lord Typer. How are you, mate? Now I'm going to take these all the way to the seafloor. I was going to say, how's your Christmas? But you people are weird. How's Sylvester? Oh, not too bad. Not too bad. Just kicking through, getting probably the last Minecraft stream done for a little while. I'll be taking a couple of weeks break. So yeah, I had some building work to come in and do. How's the weather going for you? Because we had a... Okay, that is going to go all the way to the bottom, isn't it? We had a cold snap, then we had a hot snap, and it's sort of been decent ever since. Alright, now, I am not... Maybe. again, if this wasn't... If I could have a river that had the right size crossing, I'd be building this in a river, not in the middle of a... Well, it says beach, but temperate ocean. Ah, well, I mean, at that temperature you'd probably expect snow, but no, we've had we had some really hot days for about a week, and I mean they're mid to high 20s at the moment. Expecting hot again this week. Got so hot the grass didn't even bother growing. Although, with the little bit of rain we had and the slightly cooler weather, it suddenly went, oh, I can grow again. So I am going to have to mow. Actually, I don't need to put that one there. But I do need to put that one there. $38 below. Ooh. You don't live somewhere like Canada, do you, Tom Smith? Ah! Well, even better than Canada. I gotta say, I've not had the chance to visit, I guess, Alaska or Canada. I've been cold places, but not that cold. I mean, I've been places where it's hot enough it hurts to breathe, and I understand it's much the same when it's that much below zero as well. But no. Ah, how do you find... Do you enjoy living in Alaska? I don't get the chance to ask people that much. I used to work with a guy who grew up in SoCal and ended up spending... grew up in SoCal, went to Florida for a few years, and then back to SoCal, and then spent most of his working career in Hawaii. And he hated the heat. Couldn't stand it. I'm like, you had the opportunity to go lots of other places that weren't so hot. But I just laughed at him. Because when he was working with us, we didn't have the humidity that he obviously had in Hawaii, but where we lived at the time, we had extremely dry heat. Even though we're technically on the coast, we'd be getting easy 40 plus degree days Celsius in summer, and the heat largely driven by the wind coming off the desert, which was a fair way away, but there was nothing between the desert and us. So yeah, you got desert conditions. So yeah, he hated the heat. So anytime from about so Australian, oh in fact, when would it have been? It would have been about September through to about April. You didn't see him outside of anything that was air conditioned. And we also spent a fair time travelling in the tropics as well. So yeah, he'd suffer. And to be honest, I think when he retired, he retired to Waikiki. I'm like, you know, for somebody who hated the heat and the humidity, you choose to go back to it. Anyway, no one said he was very smart. He worked with me. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Definitely true. No, so my understanding of the people who live in Alaska is, unless you're there for government work, generally you're going to be an outdoorsy type. It's not exactly introvert central. But I mean, at some point, someday I wouldn't mind visiting Alaska and places like that. Although I've had my fill for now of visiting and living in places where it hurts to go outside. Well, we had the same time as well, no, not the same time, different time. Had a Canadian guy that was working with us, and he came from a part of Canada that was relatively cold, and so whenever we were driving the hire cars and he'd finished driving, he'd never put the park brake on. He'd always put the vehicle into park and then get out and walk away from it. And so if you jump into it not knowing the park brake wasn't set, you'd get the shock of your life as the vehicle started moving. Now, reasons for that is because he came from a part of the world where if you set your parking brake, chances are it would freeze on. And so, yeah, he was taught never to put it on, which came as a shock to the Australians, who were always taught to put it on. Although he tolerated the Australian heat a lot better than our American friend did. Partially. Very mountainous swamp. That's... Oh. I know we get mosquitoes big enough down here. I don't think I want to fight the ones that you guys get in your very short summer. Alright. What are you missing, Lord Typer, or what are you going to get to finish it off? Right. See, permafrost, one of those things that just does not make sense to an Australian. That the ground permanently stays cold enough to stay frozen the year round. So take it you at least had a decent Christmas then. well, Lord Typer, a good pair of leather boots is going to cost you that much, even if it's not period correct. Especially if you're talking like mid-calf length boots like that. So Fairbanks is... You'd still be getting some daylight at the moment, but only like a couple of hours a day, or am I thinking of Anchorage? Or Nome? Alright, let's have a look. It's night time. Let's not have a look. Fair enough. Alright, so we fill in this with, I would say rubble, cobble. And then it'll be a paved surface of some sort. Oh, 4 hours is decent. Well, enough to know that there's a sun. Whereas our big problem with the weather and temperature at the moment is making sure it's cool enough to actually walk the dog and the dog doesn't cook. As opposed to making sure it's warm enough to walk the dog so the dog doesn't freeze. In fact, across the road. Was it today? Or yesterday? It was yesterday. When I took the dog out for a walk, across the road was walking there. Yeah, husky or a Malamute? Husky. She's got to be a husky. She doesn't have the coat for a Malamute. Wait a second, is she? No, she is a Malamute. But she's only probably 12, 14 months old. But they walk her on a harness, on a body harness. And the guy walking is like fighting her a little bit. And I'm like, the wrong dog to be walking on a harness. Well, you sound like you've got a plan there, Lord Typer. But yes, I get the idea of living on the wrong side of a valley, especially during the winter months. You're like, come on, let me have some daylight. No. It's like, do you want to be protected from the worst of the weather, or have some sunlight? Like, how about both? In fact, that's what was happening a week before Christmas. We had, we are protected by a valley. Actually had thunderstorms rolling directly over the top. And it's like, you know, if they've got enough energy to get to there, bad things are going to happen. And I'm going to fill those in too. Oh yeah, temperature inversions, gotta love those. Well, not wonderful, very, very visible in winter. And then you spend the next hour or so explaining to the people around you what a temperature inversion is. I think I've mostly succeeded in explaining to people what inversions are and how they work. The most recent meteorological phenomena I was getting them to understand was Virga. That's been pretty good. Took them a bit of Googling to work out what the word meant, but what was the other one? Yeah, explaining dew point and mixing layers and how to read the clouds a little bit better. Like why nice and fluffy tops are okay, but if that's coming out the bottom of the cloud, you got a problem. And that seems like, okay, that is thunderstorm. Or actually, talking of meteorological things, not necessarily living in places, seeing places. Well, if sailors are shy at night, well, that's nice. I haven't met very many shy sailors though, Qaeda. Can't imagine there'd be many shy sailors up in Fairbanks either. Well, the bigger warning is rapid change in any direction. But no, I've seen it a few times where you get the perfect standardized weather conditions, and so your temperature forecasts for places at different altitude are exactly in line with what the books tell you for dry air parcels and everything else. And it's like, not too many people would pick up on that. But it's like, it's a perfect day outside. Although to an Australian, 15 degrees Celsius is cold. Well, most Australians. Most normal Australians. In fact, that set of storms we were having before Christmas, they were blowing through in bands and it was kind of clear between them. Went out and I should have taken a photo of the night sky, of the evening sky, because the way the sun was lighting everything up, never seen it like that before. It's because the clouds were in the way, but where we are, again, we're protected by hills and stuff, so we don't see things like mammatus clouds very often, or at all. And we had some, and I'm like, as cool as they are to stand around looking at, I don't think I should be standing around outside staring at them, especially standing under a Hills hoist. There are normal Australians. It's the abnormal ones you got to be looking out for. All right, that's that filled in. I've got to surface that with some sort of paver. That's good. This needs to be bridged. Yes, it needs to be bridged. With what? I don't know. But it's not one of these. They're good. They're good. They're good. All right, let's head down and fill these things in. Now, before I go any further, I'll just sit at the bottom here and drown for a second. We have... and inside there is a level at water height. What, you need luck to see a normal Australian? Nah. Maybe. Hey, October, didn't your sister come out here for New Year's Eve one year? Pretty sure you were telling me that. Surely she met normal Australians then. Well, actually, it's New Year's Eve. No one's normal on New Year's Eve. Speaking of which, New Year's Eve is Wednesday. I will be doing my Pillars of Eternity stream with my peaceful run, and perhaps putting the fireworks on if I remember to see them. And that'll actually be my last stream for a couple of weeks. Something like that. It's the abnormal Australians that are being the serious ones. You got to watch out for them. Yeah. So, yeah. For the people who've joined in tonight who may not have been on the last week or so of streams, not that I've been consistent. Yes, I'll be taking a little bit of a break. Basically, starting next Friday's stream for a couple of weeks. Actually, taking the chance to go out and touch grass. Actually, will I be touching grass? No. Well, a little bit of grass. Be touching a little bit of grass. And then be back in from mid-Feb. Mid-January. I'll work out my months of the year at some point. Well, if you took an Australian to the knee, I don't think you'd be normal ever again. That almost sounds like they've proposed. Speaking of taking Australians to the knee, our football seasons start up again soon. All the summer league, all the pre-season stuff starts up in January, February. Big birds aren't scary. Well, have you played, what is it? Far Cry 3 or 4? The one with cassowaries in it. Now, we have emus. Emus aren't too bad, unless you get between them and their chicks. Then they get a bit upset. Cassowaries, though, and bush turkeys, oh, not fun. And in fact, it's sometimes the smaller birds that are a problem. And everyone's heard of Australian magpies swooping and stuff, but we have a couple of species of bird that are crow size, if that, a bit smaller, that nest on the ground in Australia, just out in the open. Don't bother making a nest, just pile their eggs up and leave them on the ground. And no one screws with them. Like, no one, like, people stay well away, other animals leave them well alone, and you gotta think, how evil a creature must you be to be something no bigger than a house cat as a bird? Just to, plop your eggs on the ground in the middle of the open in Australia and be left alone. Well, the Lewis gun, when used properly, they didn't enfilade the birds. So yeah, our banded lapwings and our plovers, evil, evil creatures. Now, a magpie is nice enough to sweep you from above. These things come at you from ground level. And apparently I'm being told there's also masked lapwings as well. Evil creatures. They have hooks on their wings. And they use their feet and their beaks coming at you from ground level, swooping up. And they're protected, so you can't shoot them or kill them. In fact, if anyone's caught up on my... can I see it? Can't see it right now. Actually, I will share a link. Give me half a second. Just want to make sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen when I click this button. Click the button and it did stupid things. All right. Okay. So in a playlist. Nope, not them. I think people would like this one. Let me share this link as well. Share, copy, paste. Talking about normal Aussies. That story came up. Pretty good bloke. What I am looking for though is talking about those evil birds. Gotta find it. Cost of living, no. Do. It was in spring, because these birds nest in spring and do evil, stupid things. Here we go. Here we go. I was having a whinge about hot chips as well. No, that won't go through the microphone. Okay, here we go. Copy that. Then this. In fact, what I'll do is I'll make this full size so that people can see it. It's only a couple of minutes. This is from one of my Just Chatting streams. Change the audio output to that. Now, here's hoping this comes through the right audio.
Tempted to set foot.
Yeah, so I was using a terrible mic when this was going on, so you're not going to get the best audio. But this was... Look, other me in the corner. There he is. Right.
I thought this article was funny. Any
and
Australian
yes, I was talking underwater with a mouthful of marbles.
Attempted to set foot outside in spring will have some sort of similar story or some detailed understanding of what's going on. Basically, there's a sporting ground, funnily enough, down near Canberra, where a plover, g'day Mr. Plover, Mrs. Plover, has decided to lay its eggs on the midfield line. I mean, it'd be even better if they put it right on the centre dot, but okay. So it said the egg, but quite clearly there's multiple eggs. Anyone who's had the misfortune of walking near a plover that's guarding a nest will know how vicious they can be. Now, everyone talks about magpies and whatnot being horrible things because they dive bomb you and target your head and ears and stuff like that. probably because there's not as many survivors from plover attacks. These things are nasty. They won't come from on high. They'll fly at ground level and then come up at you right at the last second to target you. And you can hear them, you can hear the clipping. It's a clip sound as they're flying at high speed across the ground. Banded lapwings are another one that tend to be really nasty protectors of their eggs, and it is getting into magpie season as well. So the maggies will be out having a go at people's heads soon enough. In fact, I've seen the signs go up around the place. But plovers, oh boy, I mean, I might dislike magpies and their nesting season, but a plover, generally those will be out in the open, and they don't give a two flying rats about where they put their eggs down. This is their nest now, and therefore the radius around it is now their territory. I've had the misfortune of having to walk through, forced to walk along certain paths at work or various times, where a plover has created a nest nearby and suddenly determined where I'm walking is not safe. And, not fun when you hear them clicking and clacking at you and getting upset, and you're looking up. Well, you don't look up. Once you know it's a plover, you look down. You look down looking for the missile coming across the ground and working out when you needed to defend yourself. And, yeah, they're vicious, nasty things. I mean, any bird that lays its eggs on the ground in Australia and is going to survive has to have a vicious streak a mile long in order to survive. But I just thought it was hilarious that it decided to lay its eggs on the midfield line of a sports ground, and the entire human population in the vicinity went, okay, it's yours now. I mean, it's an understatement to say they're protective of their eggs and will sweep at people or animals who get too close. Oh, yeah. Oh, yes. And open fields and blah, 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 blah. But the statement was, okay, so National Parks? Yeah, National Parks and Wildlife Service granted us the licence to move the nest in incremental small changes, said the council spokesperson. Can take days or even weeks depending on the important factor, the plover, how angry it is. And so they're moving it a little bit after a little bit after a little bit, and said, so there's one egg initially, and then the plovers came along and laid another two. I think it's absolutely hilarious, but only because it's not me in the vicinity of that plover. It's not me missing out on sport. It's just hilarious because, yeah, spring, beautiful weather to go out and get some sport. By the way, you can't go and do sport for a month because of the bloody bird that's sitting there with its egg. Yeah, I mean, cassowaries lay their eggs on the ground, one in a nest, and they're vicious things. Yeah, it's not a big bird, but it's not something you want flying at you. Yeah, I mean, like I said, magpies, everyone knows about. Plovers, yeah. You know if you had an encounter one. They're not friendly. They're not nice. But anywho, that's it for today's stuff. Down in Melbourne, they've had to cancel.
All right, let me pause that, get out of that. Put the audio back onto normal, come back in. So yeah, plovers, nasty things. You stop talking. Yeah, I was surprised. I mean, are plovers as evil overseas as they are here? I don't know, but I hope they're not. But if you've played, I'm not sure which Far Cry it is, but there's a Far Cry where you have cassowaries in the game, and yeah, evil things. Oh, bring myself back online. Yeah, there I am. So in fact, what that was, funny enough, was using the headset mic that I was using for ages on stream. And for whatever reason, when it was being set for recording to YouTube, YouTube just got it really, really, really muddy. And I went back and listened to the gaming streams and stuff, and they didn't sound anywhere near as bad. And the audio processing and stuff was exactly the same. I couldn't work it out. I mean, I'd read in a couple of places people suggesting YouTube does slightly different things with audio. But I ended up swapping it out for, although that clipped, sorry everyone, swapping it out for a dedicated mic, which now runs and sounds a lot better. Doesn't change how nice I sound or bad I sound, but yeah, my audio on the Just Chatting streams has vastly improved. But yeah, I don't know. It's just weird that if YouTube is set as the first target for content or for recording, it just ended up really, really muddy, and there was no change to the setup. It was just weird. Anyway, but yeah, the other video they found there is about harmless Australians, about the bloke that was going to ride his Vespa scooter all the way to each of the Ashes tests here in Australia. So we've got England are down here getting their backsides kicked at cricket at the moment in the Ashes, and nominally it's five-day tests, and they're held around the country. So this bloke living in Canberra decided he'd had enough of pretending to be retired and needed something to help his mental health. Thought, oh yeah, I'll go to each of the tests, and and he was going to ride his little Vespa scooter from Canberra to Perth, then back across to Brisbane, then to Adelaide, then to Melbourne, then to Sydney. So that's what Perth, Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne. Yeah, the 5 tests. Now, if you've never looked at the Nullarbor Plain before, look it up. Not the sort of place you want to be on a scooter that can max out at 80 k's an hour. And the funny thing is, when he was doing the test, like they were doing the test run to see how he was doing, they went for a short ride, basically a couple of hours worth of ride, and his wife said, it looked like he wasn't going to fall off, he'll be fine. That sounds like someone who's got a big life insurance policy on her partner. Bit of the old Aussie, she'll be right. Killdeer. I can imagine. Yeah, and I've been told it's masked lapwing, not banded lapwing. Either way, evil, stupid bird. Actually, I should fill that in, shouldn't I? Alright, that's going to be deep on that side. We'll just fill this in. What time is it? We're not going to be too far off my initial estimate. I wasn't, I mean, the only thing I was expecting to get done tonight was the pillars across the river. But to have measured these out and filled in, including the shore side as well, yeah, far more than I was expecting. Now, if I can, I would like to get the next bit of the river in place. I think what's going to drive the points here, what's going to drive the sizing is going to be the lowest occupied level of these two buildings. Because that will effectively set the arch height for everything else, because the main ground floor is the next floor up. Well, ground is relative. Well, it's entirely possible, Kate. I mean, that's a plan. Whether or not it's a good plan, still a plan. Well, I initially thought, looking at the design that I've got for it, that was what the lowest levels were meant to be, was that they were meant to be below sea level. But it turns out no. That was me misinterpreting the particular aspect I was looking at. It was like, oh. Now, where's the wall on this side? That works, sort of. Again, me complaining about wanting a river. Alright, at least it's now all filled in. Well, the whale song stopped. I thought I'd trapped a squid in one of these. Yeah, true. Yes, I mean, just pretend I've sent the pillars foundations all the way through to bedrock. Yeah. I'll tell you what, though, with this amount of this amount of weight above it, even though it's under maybe 3 layers of sand, I think these pillars are fairly secure. Why does that keep getting turned off? Is that because I get too close to the sand? It's like looking at the legs of an ocean oil platform, oil rig. Some of them are just meant to touch the sea floor. They're not going to bury in or anything. It's the sheer weight and physics holding them in place that you're like, yeah, that's fine. I saw something online. It was a while back. I think it was on YouTube, but may have been off YouTube. Some famous musician was basically convinced to do a concert, a special concert, in the base of one of the legs of one of the largest oil platforms at sea. So in essence, I'm not sure if it's in the north, might have been in the North Sea, because it was in a location relatively shallow enough for them to, for the leg to actually be touching the sea floor. But I, up until that point, never considered that the legs of those structures were hollow, and that because they were hollow, they needed interior access to check maintenance and serviceability, etc., yada yada yada. And so they had this famous musician go down and do a concert at the bottom of one of these legs, effectively at sea, at the bottom of the ocean. Like, okay, there's so many things about that just mind-boggling. I mean, it was at a slightly elevated pressure, but nothing compared to what was outside. Had there been a catastrophic failure, no one was getting out. Well, there was some sort of classical musician, I think, and it was almost to, you know, demonstrate the acoustics. It was some I forget the exact setup. It started as like almost as a joke, and then someone went, yeah, no, we could do that. And the musical instruments survived the trip down, all being a bit temperamental. Right. It yes, to a degree, and the humidity obviously would have affected stringed instruments. It was, yeah, I mean, when you're dealing with like minor atmospheric variations, yeah, you just retune your instrument and away you go. But when you're dealing with multiples of atmospheric pressure, yeah, then things start getting a bit more interesting. Ah, whoop. Nearly there. Well, see, that's the thing. I up until I'd seen this thing, I'd not considered it to be well, really a common sort of thing. It's presumably for maintenance or serviceability type stuff, but because of the risks involved, it's not the sort of thing that's done frequently. Alrighty, very nearly there. Well, yeah, I mean, so that's why I was surprised that they did this, because it was either tethered or resting on the sea floor. And my understanding, if it wasn't ballasted, was that they generally use the legs for storage, like as a temporary storage before pumping everything ashore. So yeah, I thought it was rather interesting to see it, and I was like, I've got to chase it up. I got no idea where I saw it. It's like a couple of islands I've been to where the harbour has a mooring point. Yeah, just the one. Not far offshore. It's like maybe a couple of 100 yards off the beach, or maybe even 100 yards off the beach. One end is anchored to the nearby rock shelf, but the other end is on the seafloor, which even only 100 yards off the beach is several thousand meters down, like 3,000 meters. I actually have to double check, but it's like, pretty sure it's like 2,500 to 3,000 meters of depth. And you're looking at it like, you know, pretty much any other beach in Australia, I'd still be walking out at that distance. I mean, within swimming distance. But then you go further up to look down on the beach, and you realise just how narrow the strip of sand that you can see under the water is, and that it's a serious drop off. Like they're catching not deep sea fish. They're catching deep water stuff pretty much not far off the beach. Alright, so that's that done. Okay, so let's now have a look. This side is the one that's going to set the parameters. Okay, so they've come all the way in to there. What we're going to have is 1, 2, 3, and take an oak plank. Oak stairs, sorry. And then basically that looks like that is floor. So you've actually got like a tiny little dock here. We would go down another level. And to be honest, that would be like that as well. If I set that as ground level, what it has is top of the stairs, there's a door. Not that side. There. And then there's a second thing there, and then there is one staircase up. One wide. And then that's 2 wide like that. And there's a stair like that. And then everything goes on from there. So what we have here is et voila. Now that floor is set as an arch from outside, so I need stone brick stairs. Ah, come on. Not like that. Or that. There we go. 1, 2, 3 back. 1. Come forward 1, maybe? But that does seem to be right. So that is then my... I didn't get the planks, did I? I should have got the planks. Right, and I think that is actually limited to that. So it's only a very narrow... on that floor level at least. If I come back and have a look at the external... In fact, what it does is actually changes texture, changes build. So in essence, this is the stone foundations through coming up out of the water. It actually then changes at that level to a white. And I will put a window in. Now the problem here is concrete and terracotta don't give me a stair option. I don't really have a white block with sandstone, but sandstone's the wrong colour. And diorite? Make an entire building out of diorite. Yeah, that's going to go down well. Hmm. I don't know. Because I'm not going to get the decorative elements I need otherwise. Quartz. I can build it out of quartz. Yes, yes I can. That will work mostly better. There's still a seam on it, but at least it gives me more options. Plus, there's more decorative options with the quartz as well. I mean, the downside is it's a little bit pinkish, but can't win everything. Right, so that's normal quartz. Smooth quartz. It's got to be smooth. Like that. Okay, so what we'll do now is run, now that I know where the internal floor level is. Sorry, it's not floor level, is it? It's the next level up. What we have is this floor level, but it's the next level up. That is the main. Yeah, I think this one here is misleading. One's out here though. We're one row too short. Because it's, the window is sort of right on the seam. I'll sort that out in just a bit. Actually, what's above it is staircases. So we can actually push this higher without it costing anything. In fact, we might give it a fancy floor like that. Okay, and then so it's mainly staircases above. I'm gonna go 3 high ceilings inside. Gonna have to be over the 3rd floor. So that then becomes my working ground floor. And we then look at That actually would give me a little bit of wiggle room inside. If they're all 4 wide, oops. One more double check. Well, it does kind of draw down to that level. And then it goes like that. No, I'm going to go with that. Upside down, Miss Jane. Whoops. I thought those tower houses were, well, build to build. Compared to this, they're nothing. All nice and straightforward. And technically it should. Like that. Technically. There's going to be windows and stuff coming in. But yeah, these pillars are solid up here as well. The only part that has flooring level below the main floor is the towers, the main building platform. Now, this is actually the more interesting one because it's only going to have the arch surface on one side. Like this. What it's going to do for the rest of it is basically that. Ah, and that one. Oh, did I miscount that one? 1, 2. Oh, I did. Oh. To be honest, I don't think it's going to notice because that last pellet's different anyway. And I got it wrong. No? No, it is shorter. the other diagram that's wrong. Alright, that one was a bit weird. Okay, so I'm going to fill these pillars up. I think once we get to the dressed stone level, we are definitely hitting internal flooring levels. I'm not going to fill these up. This needs a bit of work. But yeah, there's our little dock. Yep, that works. And there we go. Last one. We'll take the sleep. Look at the time. Yeah, we will call it fairly soon. Alright, ground floor's up there. Oh, what I was going to check was... This one stays stone. I don't think that's the right texture, but meh, we'll work with that one for now. Okay. Alright, we're going to fix up this interior flooring. Okay, so it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, well, basically to the wall. Alright, this fills up to the roof line, I think. But is given space as we go above it. Now, hard to slot windows very effectively. No, I can't. Alright, let's measure this out. It comes down in the room. It goes 1, 2, 3 wide. Comes back into the room. That's 1, 2, 3, 4. Not full width, is it? Nope. Alright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yep. Okay, and then there's a door. That's a wall internal. We put a door. Door there. There's like another room out here. Yeah, these are going to be, we'll fix those up. Right, I think we're going to be calling it very shortly. Okay, let's take a longer look. Okay, that's going to be built up. That's looking decent. That's all looking decent. I got the angle on that one wrong. That needs to be fixed up coming off there. So now I'm going to go white all the way up. This room is a single room, not a problem. We've got the staircase down to the small dock there, that's all sorted. We staircases above, basically. Like that. I didn't fill that one in. I got rid of my wooden staircases, didn't I? I did. These actually start at here, and then it's a turn to the left. There we go. I'm guessing it could be timber internals. I'll go for slightly different timber though. Like that, and there's a flooring above it. Fall off. Alright, let's see if that matches up. Oh, yes it does. Oh, beautiful. And then this flooring carries through to the main entrance. Like that. Could I lower it one? I could. Because in here doesn't matter because it's going to be staircases above. Yeah, I think it's going to work. We've got the main floor, and then a floor above it. Well, 2 floors above it. Well, especially if we're going to have no, we're going to run with that. Alright, going to call it there and drop in the chat, close things out. Bit of a brain scratch there, head scratch. Alright, big thank you to everyone coming out tonight. The regulars, the first timers, the chatters, the lurkers, and everybody in between. Thank you to the first time chatters as well. The game, and so the channels wouldn't be the same without you. So thank you very much all for being here. Alright, what have we got coming up next? Next stream is tomorrow night. We're looking at our infamous Second Son expert playthrough, going through that, making steady progress there. Then we have our giveaway as well, going off tomorrow night before the stream. If you want in on that, head for the Discord, where you'll find a channel called Giveaways. Head in there, click the blue button, and you're automatically in the draw. And this week it's for a copy of V Rising. And like I said, that gets automatically drawn before Sunday's streams. Monday night, Mass Effect 1, continuing that playthrough. And then Wednesday night is our RPG night with our RPG night with Pillars of Eternity, doing our peaceful playthrough, basically. And then we'll be taking a couple of weeks break. So if you want to keep up on what's going on when I'm due back, best bet is to keep an eye on the socials. Messages will go out on Twitter and Insta before each stream, indicating what's going to go on, what, where, when, etc. And The Discord will eventually pick those messages up and relay them, as well as punching a message out when the stream goes live. Yeah, so the best way is to keep an eye on that. Now, the giveaways will be running while I'm not here. They will all be drawn when I get back, though. So there's going to be 2 or 3 giveaways that'll activate tomorrow. So good luck to everybody with that. Each of those is an individual entry, though. So you'll have to pick which ones you want to go in, and good luck to everyone with that. Other than that, if we don't catch you beforehand, well, firstly, I hope you all had a very Merry Christmas. And if we don't catch you before Wednesday night's stream, we hope you have a very happy New Year. For those of you in cold locations, hope you're staying nice and warm. For those of you in the hot locations, hope you're staying nice and cool. Otherwise, very good night from me to all of you, and see you all next time.